What if I told you next year's tax stress is being created right now? Not in April, not when you file, right now with how you're managing your money today. If tax season feels chaotic, expensive, or full of surprises, there are 3 things you can start doing today to make your life so much easier next time. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Trull, your favorite CPA and financial educator. And here on this channel, I love to give you all the things you need to stay informed, organized, and profitable in your business finances. So please make sure to like and subscribe. Now, I see this play out all the time, especially with business owners. They wait to get everything together for taxes until right before the tax deadline. And then as soon as they have finally filed, they try to forget taxes exist altogether. But that just sets you up for an endless cycle of stress and panic. And I do not want that for you. So let's talk about the 3 things you can start doing today that future you will thank you for. The first thing that you can be doing today is to clean up your bookkeeping system. Messy books are the #1 reason that tax season becomes a total nightmare. If your numbers are behind, scattered, or completely inaccurate, then you are going to be scrambling come tax time again next year. Now, if you've watched this channel before, you know that I think taxes are actually the second most important reason to be keeping up with your bookkeeping. The absolute most important reason to be doing it is actually so that you can make better decisions in your business because you have access to that data year round. That means keeping up with your books on a monthly basis at a minimum. Now, it often happens where people decide they're going to do this and keep up with it for maybe a month or 2, but then other things get in the way, other things that feel more important and more urgent, and then the same cycle happens again where you've got months to catch up on your bookkeeping. So the best thing that you can do today is really look at your systems for bookkeeping. Whether you're using a spreadsheet to track things or you're using an accounting software, it's a good time to look at your processes and see what is broken. What caused stress over this last year? It may be time to hire a bookkeeper or just come up with processes that work for you to make sure you're keeping up with your bookkeeping all year. And I will tell you, a good system will go a long way towards making this easier. I'll say that even I used to put off my bookkeeping. I know, but I would because I didn't really enjoy doing it. And usually I'd uncover some kind of problem every time I'd log into my QuickBooks. Now, some of you know that I actually switched accounting software platforms last year, and now I'm fully using Xero. And for the way that my brain works, it actually works a lot better for me, and it's much easier for me to keep up with. Now, each accounting software is not one size fits all. So if you're trying to evaluate what the best accounting software for you is, I definitely want you to go check out my free quiz at jamietrull.com/accounting quiz. You'll answer a couple of questions. It takes about 2 minutes, and then it will tell you which software or maybe spreadsheet template would be best for you based on your specific needs and business. And not only that, we have some extra perks for those who take the quiz. There are some discounts on those software products that we partner with. And it's worth taking the quiz as well, because if you are planning to sign up for a new accounting software, we also have some specially negotiated deals that you won't know about unless you take the quiz. Now, I've also made lots of content on this channel about how to get your books nice and clean. Specifically, if you use Xero or the quiz maybe tells you it's time to move to Xero, I have a whole video that shows you how I do my monthly bookkeeping in 30 minutes or less using Xero. So you can check that video out next. Now, I will say that keeping your finances organized isn't just about the accounting software you use. That is definitely a big part of it, but it's not the only thing that matters. The actual movement of money and cash flow in your business is really important too. And like I said, that's not just about taxes, that's about increasing your cash flow and having a plan for the money that comes into your business. Those systems also give you line of sight on determining how much you can pay yourself and how much you can reinvest back into your business. Without clean data, then you are just guessing all the time, and you're probably not paying yourself, or at least not paying yourself as much as you could be. So I recommend now going ahead and making that process for how you're going to manage your cash flow and where every dollar you make is going to go. As it turns out, I switched all of my financial tools last year, so you can see what I'm using today and how those tools work together to keep my finances healthy. So if that's interesting to you, definitely check out this video next as well. And if you're confused about the difference between banking, which is really your cash flow, and bookkeeping, check out this video where I explain it in detail and why both of them are important and you need a process for both. Okay, so enough on processes. Let's now talk about the second thing you can be doing today to make tax season less stressful next year. And that is to start saving for taxes now. I tend to hear people complaining about how much they owe at tax time and feeling like they're way overpaying in taxes. But a lot of times the problem isn't necessarily how much they're paying in taxes, but the fact that they didn't save for it year round. So of course we know that as business owners or self-employed individuals, we don't typically have withholding taken from our checks. And even if we are a corporation that does pay ourselves a salary, that's typically not going to be enough of taxes withheld in order to cover your full tax liability. Which means it's up to us to essentially be saving for that. Now, in an ideal world, we're paying quarterly estimated taxes, but even if we are doing all the things that we're supposed to do, sometimes we will have a surprise at the end of the year. This especially happens when business maybe does better than last year, and so you didn't pay in enough over the year. So I highly recommend saving throughout the year for your taxes. Literally putting that money aside in a different account, preferably, so that you don't touch it and it's not yours. Now, my strategy is to pay my minimum estimated taxes that I know that I need to pay based off of last year, but then to save additional money in a taxes account so that I can cover any increases. I'm not a big fan of giving the government an interest-free loan. I'd rather collect that interest instead. So that's why I like to keep it in a savings account. Now, if you're wondering what I use for this, I actually use Relay. I've talked about it a lot on this channel before. They are a fintech that is partnered with an FDIC insured bank. And that means that you have all kinds of cool capabilities and things that you can do, including separating your money into multiple different accounts. Now, I have this automated where I have a percentage of the profit in my business that goes directly into my taxes account each and every week without me having to do anything. And again, I use that kind of as my extra insurance. I don't think about that money. I don't touch that money. It's there. And then when I go to file my taxes, I see how much I owe. And I will tell you, I just filed my taxes for this year last weekend, and I had a lot more saved in my taxes account than I actually needed to pay in at the end of the day, which meant I got to give myself a refund. So I could have been frustrated that I had to pay in at all and wonder where that money was coming from. But instead, I had a whole bucket of money and I was able to release the rest of it that I didn't need and take a bigger paycheck for that. And let me tell you, that feels completely different than having to figure out where you're going to come up with this money. So if you want to do something like that, I have a couple of videos that I recommend you check out. First, it's important to figure out if you are, in fact, paying too much in taxes. And I did a video that talks about how you can determine if the problem is really you're paying too much or if it's just a problem with how much you're saving. So that's a great video to check out first. And then I also have a video that goes more into detail about 5 different bank accounts I suggest that you have with your business, and it shows how I use Relay to do that within my business. Now, of course, I know this is a lot of videos I'm throwing at you, so I will make sure to put all the links to all of these videos in the comments so that you can go check them out. The most important thing, though, is to set that money aside and treat it like it's not yours. You don't even see it. It doesn't even exist to you. And therefore, you're not carrying this looming, am I going to be prepared for taxes, around with you all year long. Now moving on to the third thing that you can be doing to prepare for next year's tax time, and that is to look into strategies for reducing next year's taxes. Now, this is especially important if you watched the video that I just mentioned entitled How to Know If You're Paying Too Much in Taxes and determined that yes, you actually are paying a higher effective tax rate and there may be some opportunities for you. So if you determine the problem isn't just not saving for taxes, it's truly paying more than you really need to, then it's time to really get strategic. Now, of course, if you have an accountant that you trust, this is a good time to talk about those potential opportunities. A lot of times, by the time you are filing for your taxes for the prior year, you really don't have a lot of opportunities to change the outcome. However, right now, if you make some decisions for this year, you can change the outcome for next year. So now is the time to look at these things. Now, a couple of things that I consider to be the most effective way to quickly reduce your taxes, even for those who are making, say, under 500,000 or under $1 million in revenue, there are still opportunities for you to save on taxes. First and foremost, I recommend understanding how your business structure impacts your tax filing. That is a video I also recently did, so you can check that out as well. It may be time to look at electing S corporation tax treatment, which for the right companies can be a significant tax savings. Of course, other strategies you might want to look into are things like retirement accounts, where you can actually defer a portion of what you earn and still keep that money, but you're putting it in a retirement account that you don't have to pay taxes on. So you're essentially shielding a part of your income from taxes altogether. Additionally, one of my favorite strategies, and something that I do as well, is employing your kids. It's a great way to move money from your tax bracket to their tax bracket, which in most cases is 0. And then you can use the money that you pay them to pay for things you normally were going to pay for anyway. That could be sports fees, summer camps, or even their private school. And by doing this, you get to do that all tax-free. It's almost like getting a deduction for your kids' private school payments. Plus, the part that I also love about it is that your kids learn valuable skills. And yes, there are things that kids at any ages can do in your business. My kids are 9 and 12. They both work in the business, very limited, but enough to really learn some new skills. My son has learned all kinds of new skills in Canva doing graphic design. And if you're wondering about the legality of this, yes, it is legal if you do it the right way, then check out this video next. So to sum it up, if you want next year's tax time to feel easier than this time, there are 3 things that you need to do. Number 1, make sure that you've cleaned up your books and you have a good system going forward. Number 2, start saving consistently and preferably even set up an automated system to do this for you so you don't have to worry about it. And number 3, look at some of those tax strategies today, like entity types or hiring your kids, to see if they could help you save. Future you next April will feel so thankful that you did. Thanks for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.